Hey, what's up, guys? Tukey here, back again with another episode of my Seattle Mariners franchise mode series right here in MLB The Show 19. You know the deal at this point. And today the Mariners are back in the playoffs for the third time in 4 seasons. We made the playoffs a couple of times. Things didn't exactly work out. We missed last year due to a little bit of a rebuild / retooling. And now this year, we ended up making it. Granted, it's the wild card game against Houston, the team that absolutely smoked us the last time we were in the playoffs when we lost to them in the ALCS. But you never know what could happen. I don't know if I'm overly optimistic, but we do have Jose Berrios leading the way, and I mean, we chose him as our ace over anybody else, and again, Berrios has done everything that we could have possibly wanted out of an ace. But my one hope is that this team is able to at least get a win here. Obviously, it's a younger team by design. We have some players here where we're still not exactly sure of what their future will be with the team, but fingers crossed this isn't going to very quickly turn into a off-season episode. This is the Astros lineup. At this point in time, we are in a rough spot. Altuve, Correa, Gallo, Alvarez. This is not going to be easy, but we do have, they have Miles Straw on the bench, for God's sakes. He's an 87 rated player. We have the one guy who might be able to shut down that offensive firepower on the mound for us. It's going to take a titanic effort, for lack of a better term, to get the job done. Thank God it's not a 5-game series, because that rotation is absurd. The bullpen's also relatively strong. It will be Forrest Whitley leading the way for Houston in this one. We are going to get right down to business. I want to see if this is indeed going to be a playoff episode or if we're adjusting quickly to an off-season episode. Let's find out. To Houston we go. Berrios leading the way. Our lineup will stay the same. Let's see what we can do. Can we get to Whitley early? Kelenic reaches off of an error and gets the steal. Bellinger and Mateo, though, both fail to bring him home. Altuve starts off with a leadoff single. Kemp into a double play, and Correa strikes out. So nothing doing through the first inning. Can we get anything going here? A 1-out single from Julio. Mitra strikes out. Little with the 2-run shot of all people. Gabe Little. Not a power hitter by any stretch, but we have the lead early on here. It's 2-0 as Joey Gallo leads off the bottom of the second. Alvarez and Reed ends up walking. Kyle Tucker singles. Candelario pops up to end it, so a 2-0 lead through 2 innings. Can we add to it? No, we cannot, at least in the top of the third. Kursoki there, not much doing there, though. Altuve and Kemp, another 1-2-3 inning from Berrios, Mateo, Serrano, Rodriguez. It is a pitching duel aside from the 2-run shot. Leadoff single for Correa. Gallo strikes out. Alvarez 2-run shot. This game is tied. At the end of the day, you can pitch around them. Maybe it leads to a walk. I trusted Berrios to go for it. Didn't work. This game is tied, and a follow-up single from Reed. Tucker into a double play. We're tied at 2 through 4 innings. And the bottom half of the lineup, nothing really going for them there. Oki with a 1-out single. Altuve flies out. Kemp grounds out. We go to the 6th, tied at 2. Desperately needing the top 5 in the lineup to step up a little bit. And it's not happening. Let's see if we can get one more half inning out of Berrios. He walks Correa. We end up walking Gallo. We end up walking Alvarez. They just have the discipline at the plate. 3 straight walks. AJ Reed, 2 RBI single. An absolute nightmare there. An absolute nightmare situation. We're down 4-2, 4 unanswered runs for them. And as far as who we go with, I genuinely don't know. Escobar was strong in the regular season. He wasn't bad, at least. Williamson, I don't know if we turn to Andy or not. He's not too bad. Good old Von Muller, also not too bad. Randolph we wouldn't be using. I think we got to go to Guillen early. See what we can do. Tucker strikes out. Candelario clears the bases. 5-2. The second runner was tagged out. Oki with a 2-run shot. It's 7-2. And I guess we have our answer as far as what the second half of this episode is going to be, don't we? Guess we have our answer. It is 7-2 as we head into the 8th inning. 7 unanswered runs as Peter Solomon's brought on to replace Whitley. And we just have nothing going. Let's keep Guillen on for the hell of it. He gets us through it. Top of the 9th, this is it. Jimmy Voorhees against Justin Farrell. He strikes out. Kellenic singles for just our 3rd hit of the game. Gets the steal as well. Bellinger strikes out. Mateo flies out. And we are thoroughly dominated. 7-2 final. They out-hit us 10-3. Bottom line is, say what you want about the runs allowed. 2 runs wasn't enough. We would have been asking, I mean, again, if anyone was going to do it, it's going to be able to be Barrios. But it just didn't happen. So this has very quickly turned into an off-season episode. I am very frustrated over that. It was nice for the team to make the playoffs as the Angels have won with Mike Trout. They beat the Mets in the 2025 World Series. And Houston was swept by Tampa, so that's even worse. I'm happy that we made the playoffs, but it is incredibly disappointing to have had the season end like that, where again we just kind of roll over in a playoff game and die. It ended up being Juan Soto as World Series MVP, postseason MVP, Daniel Robertson for the Mets, and Soto. So he was amazing. Of course, there was the temptation to go after him. Maybe we should have. The Angels win it in 7 over the Mets. We move on to the offseason as we lose Joe Boone to retirement, but obviously not a major loss. No Hall of Famers this year either. We need a new pitching coach, and that is going to be... Let's go for Tony Rodriguez. Actually, Woodward's younger. We'll go for Woodward. Pay him about $1.8 million a year, a season. That should be fine. We don't have to worry about losing anybody, which is nice. Woodward is back, and that'll bring us to the first stage of free agency and just the off-season in general. So in terms of the catching situation, I mean, Al Vogt is a monster. An absolute monster. Obviously, that situation at catcher is going to have to be clear. You know, it's going to have to be cleared up soon. Hell, we could make the argument for just Al Vogt being the guy. I mean, the power game's not there. Another season in AAA would probably be pretty beneficial, but we could make something happen. Roman Kessler has to be traded. So there's going to be a lot of changes there, for sure. Doug Barth, at first, can be let go. Aside from that, everyone else can stay. Second base, Tino Castilla we'll let go of for now. We'll keep Richard Kang. Let's get rid of... Yeah, he was 22 and a D, but we'll keep the other guy here, Jowers. Might have a little bit of trade value. We may see Warner Sylvester take the step up this year, which would be nice. Dexter Frey will go. We'll keep the other two for the hell of it. I obviously don't expect them to be good players at all, but we'll keep them for now. Neil Bronson, though, can be dropped. Unless there's somebody magically better. You know what? I'm going to drop him for now. I might as well at least stop the amount of people I have to re-sign, and we'll see if there's anybody better via free agency. Danny Carew can be dropped. Yamashita can be dropped, and Eli Prado, despite being a Double-A All-Star, is going to be on the way out. Let's get rid of John Hernandez and Ryan Wood. I'm just when I look at this roster, the one thing I'm really caught up on right now is who's going to stay and who's going to go, because we know there are going to have to be changes. People are going to be taking the step up from AAA. It's not a situation I was hoping to have to figure, or, a problem I was hoping to have to solve right now in today's episode. I was really hoping we would still be in the playoffs, and obviously it was just so abrupt. Like, oh, well, we're up 2-0, and then that's it. And then we just get bounced. And now it's like, oh, cool. So the offseason. I love that we get to change our focus that quickly. But there we go. That's pretty much all the players we're going to be getting rid of. So Willingham is the ideal guy that we have to pay attention to. We'll make sure that he is on the 40-man. Let's try to add Seth. Well, Seth Corey's actually kind of garbage, so we're going to drop him. He was just a tack on to a deal. Aside from that, it's Koo and Kirkpatrick that we at least don't want to lose via the Rule 5. All those other guys, if we lose them, that's fine. Like Roman Kessler, hopefully, will get picked up. And then Johnson and Herrera are nothing. Matter of fact, I don't even remember Johnson being on this team. Where the hell is Johnson? There he is. I don't even remember getting Chase Johnson, but go ahead and let him go. And then the only guy is, you have Herrera and Kessler, who are really non-factors for this team moving forward. In terms of arbitration, Mackenzie Gore. We have 3 years left of him maxed because you saw how much money he was already looking for. We have 3 more years of Mackenzie Gore, and then he's gone. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Hopefully we win a World Series within 3 years and we don't really have to worry about it, but time will tell. Ray Mitra's already towards the $13 million range. He'll be getting a little bit over 5, actually closer to 6, just to make sure he's happy about the money. Jared Kelenic is the main person I think I'm, contemplating getting rid of. I'm still not sure. He's 26 now, so he'll still have a little bit of developmental room, but not a ton. And this season, it wasn't a blowaway performance from him to convince me that he's the guy here. And Nick Prado's not bad, but I think with some of the other talent we have coming up, he might be on the way out as well. But we'll at least look to keep these guys instead of going, to the arbitration route. And then in terms of tendering contracts, let's see who we have. So Siegler is going to be making about $1 million. It's not too bad. We'll actually go $966. Al Vogt, who again looks like he could be a monster. I'm going to pay him as if I were to play him in the majors because I might. Eric Hansen still not looking like he's ever going to make it, but there's good trade value there if we decide to get rid of him. Tom Heinlein, really, you look at that. He has to be a bench player this year. The bat that he provides, even off the bench, would be tremendous. Marcel Self as well, somebody else pushing for that first base spot moving forward. And I'm not sure who's going to get it. And, of course, David Parrott here as well. Tremendous name. All players that are vying for a spot at first base. And then Tim Kahn in the system as well. Of course, we got rid of Barth, so a lot of options. Warner Sylvester, you really can't even make the argument that he's not going to be a starter this year. He has to be. He's too damn good to not be. It would also probably stunt his development to send him back down to AAA for a season. Adrian Serrano, though, at least impressed somewhat this season. Herrera, there's at least decent trade value for him, or there's value in him being a depth player for us. Robert Ramirez, just pay him enough that he'll accept. Martin, hate that we let him go, but had to be done. Sean Rimo at a 73, we'll pay him a decent amount. Neil Bronson's gone. Fernando Ramirez we need to sign, and then the outfield, Peterson, who I don't think's ever going to make it to the major league level. Miguel Dominguez is in a great spot to be an impact player within a few seasons, which would be nice. Dominguez, 1.4 for the next 2 years. David Koo, it's going to be a nothing deal for him. Let's go 450. Hernandez was cut. Wood was cut. And in right, my brain just can't pronounce that name correctly. Torres and Nellis are gone. And for pitchers, Willingham will obviously be signed, up to an 80 rated now at 24 years old. We'll give him about $700K this year. Omar Escobar, who was pretty solid, will pay him about $1 million a season. Chet Watson needs to get paid a decent amount in case he's in the bullpen this year. And we still don't even know the scope of free agency. Of course, I haven't looked yet. But I don't envision myself signing anybody. I think for the most part, it's, well, we already, build from within. We already have the talent. It's just a matter of who's going to get the job done, essentially. So, I don't know. We'll take a look. Of course, there were free agent signings last year, but a big part of rebuilding this team just came through trading and, of course, building down, getting rid of our guys who I didn't have much faith in. And, of course, you saw in the last episode, a couple of them went on to have decent seasons because, of course, they did. I'm still not too concerned, although I should have looked at the Angels roster. It's the one thing I didn't think to do, but just kind of, like I said, I'm not shell-shocked, but very disappointed, like, oh, great, an off-season episode, which I'm fine with. I love the team-building aspect of this game and, getting all the puzzle pieces into the right places and seeing what this team's going to look like for next year, but I just didn't want it to happen yet. It's too early. It's too soon. Players are going to have to go. People who disappointed last year and underperformed, you're probably not going to get a second chance. I mean, especially too, I think I'm going to start basing it off of if someone wants to play in the majors, I'm not going to make the justification of like, one more season in AAA. If they want to play in the majors, we're going to let them go for it because we don't want to stunt any development that might be there. So, we'll see. I mean, you can just tell by the talent that we're having to re-sign here alone. The players are going to have to go. I mean, obviously, if you do a no-rules run, you're going to end up with just an ungodly amount of starting pitching talent. That's just a given with the way this game is. And especially, too, with the way trade values stay way too high up there for a potential guys, even if it's clear that they're not going to make it. We've talked about that before and given SDS plenty of we'll say criticism in that regard. So we've sent out all those offers. Free agency this year. Catchers, you do have Sean Murphy. Sean Murphy, an elite fielder and absolutely horrific at the plate. So that's going to be a no. I'm not paying $18 million for a defensive specialist. Keibert Ruiz has been decent at the plate over the past 2 years for a catcher. Now, the argument, of course, is what do we do necessarily with Al Vogt? Do we have him in AAA for one more season? Do I really want to go out and get Keibert Ruiz if Al Vogt's there? We could, and then between Amaya, Naylor, and Ziegler, keep whoever. I mean, it's not as if Amaya really won me over last year. Tyler Stevenson's not bad, but Ruiz is a little bit of a better option. I mean, Ruiz, though, was looking for $19 million a season. Is that worth it? When we have someone like Al Vogt in the system. Take the shortcut with Ruiz or just build from within is pretty much what we're contemplating. And again, I don't mind the option of getting a free agent and seeing if that's enough to push us over the edge and to make us a legitimate contender. But, man, do big-time free agent signings not work out for me that much in this game. I mean, Ruiz is, again, solid defensively, decent track record, although granted, he only has that one season to his credit, I guess, but I can't pay $18 million a season to someone like that for one season where it's like, oh, okay, you look half decent. First base-wise, we don't need anybody. I mean, again, the talent's already there. It's just a matter of who's going to claim those two spots. Second base, Ozzie Albies is there, but we have Gabe Little and we have Warner Sylvester, so nobody's needed there, even though Albies looks incredible. Although his performance at the plate's been a little bit weak, and he was injured for a decent amount of time last season. So some decent names there, some decent overalls, but again, I think we're good. And as it is, We have other trades to make. Austin Riley is available. Of course, we have Serrano. Riley finishes past year with a 728 OPS. He is looking for $24 million a season. Imagine the nerve. The nerve to look for that much, because it's pretty much based solely off of overall rather than a player's performance, which just isn't a great system. Shortstop-wise, I mean, Jimmy Voorhees and Ray Mitra are there. So, Bo Bichette's not bad. That ain't happening, though. Murillo's not bad, but I'll hold off on signing him for the moment just because he's a deep potential. Dwayne Jolly is a much better target for us. Look to pay him a decent amount of money. In left, John Patton. Ooh. Ooh. All right, he was playing for the White Sox. The bat's nothing ridiculous yet, but he's only 25, and he's hitting free agency outright. That's insane. Now, this might be the guy to go for. That might be the guy to go for, because in the outfield, we have Kelenic, Dominguez, Koo, Bellinger, and Rodriguez. I'm not against getting an outfielder. Now, obviously, if you look at anybody here, Riley doesn't have the outfield set. I could change it if I wanted to. I mean, obviously, Riley can be an outfielder. He's set up in a way to be an outfielder. But I don't necessarily want to get into moving players around. But if we were to sign an outright outfielder, and again, the difference with Riley is that the bat's not there. He's 28 and he's looking for way too much money. John Patton is looking for a max contract. Ugh. He is good, man, but he's looking for a max contract at this point. I mean, I could cheese this with the 15-year backloaded deal and get that money down by a decent amount, but that is a garbage contract. That really is. Let me see how much this would be per year. I mean, he looks like an absolute monster, but that would be such a bad contract. What's the lowest I can get this to? To the point where it goes probably, we'll go lowest green bar interest. All right, so it's right about there. So he's making almost $1 million a week. $415 million, 15-year deal, which is just absolutely insane. No guarantees I'm letting that go through, but I am intrigued because of that guy's ridiculous potential. Victor Robles is available, but that's going to be a no for me. Just, again, it's another guy. Maybe I'm being, admittedly, maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh in terms of, you know, maybe I should focus more on like, oh, okay, a 700 OPS. That's fine, for example. But even then, it's like, we do want to aim high. We do want to aim high. And in right, there's nobody else that I would want. So if we're going after anybody, it's going to be John Patton. And it would be more of a short-term deal. In terms of relief, AJ Minter is available. Didn't play much over the past 2 years, but this year was tremendous at 32 years old. Now, the issue is, of course, if we go with him, there's a lot of younger guys who would lose their spot. And do we want to lose a young guy for like one season of AJ Minter before we'd have to start worrying about his regression? I don't think so. Same thing with Brandon Brennan. We know he was good, but he's also 34 at this point. Do we want to lose one of our younger guys and stifle their development or have to trade them away for 1 year of someone who's a little bit more proven? I don't think we do. I mean, granted, we'd be able to reinvest those prospects, but I'm not going for it. For the most part, we're going to try to build from within with who we already have. Build the winning culture. Let these players come up together and see what happens. So in terms of starters, again, there are some decent options, but we have an ungodly amount of starting pitching prospects, and I'm not going to bother spending money here. Just not going to bother. And I highly doubt there are any prospects available. So it comes down to whether or not we want to go for John Patton. And again, in the outfield right now, we have Bellinger, Rodriguez, Kelenic, Dominguez, Koo, And that's it. If Patton accepts that deal, I'll take it because he'd be cheap enough. But that's the only way. So we'll see what happens. Maybe another team will be in for him. Anderson Espinoza to the Dodgers. And Patton went to the Twins. 6-year deal. So we're already out on John Patton, which is fine. Ozzie Albies goes to San Francisco. Willie Calhoun to the Marlins. Sean Murphy ended up going to the Royals. And let's double check here. So we will go towards the 23rd. I think we got those other two prospects that we were in for. Did we? We got Hoff and we got Jolly. Perfect. So we will move forward to the 23rd just to make sure we don't lose anybody. Let's go ahead and do that. Chris Paddock has been dealt again. He's going to Washington this time out. Victor Robles to Detroit. AJ Minter to Detroit as well. Keibert Ruiz to the Dodgers. The Mets get Kyle Bird, Michael Kopech to the Royals. Austin Riley to Colorado. Have fun with that. Bo Bichette to New York. Nick Whitgren to the Giants. And we are good to go. Ryan McMahon to New York. Let's take a look here. We have signed everybody. So we are good to move forward. Kevin McCarthy to the Yankees. I can't imagine the Rule 5 is going to play much of a factor. The Cubs get themselves a new ace. Tyler Stevenson to Washington. So it's pretty much just get straight to spring training, see what kind of player development we're looking at, and then take it from there. Dakota Hudson to the Astros. Severino to the Twins. So the Twins spending big-time money this postseason. Jeff Hoffman to the Angels. Swanson to the Angels. And we will keep moving forward. Ben Gamel to Milwaukee. Tyler Naquin to Houston. Trey Mancini to Milwaukee. Christian Yelich to the Angels. So again, and Dylan Moore as well. The same team spending some big-time money right about now. Hunter Dozier to the Braves. Travis Jankowski to the Cardinals. And we go to the Rule 5, which we will simulate. Jake Bowers traded to Washington. So you notice the same teams here making some big-time moves. Nick Castellanos to the White Sox. Michel Baez, I guess it would be, to the Cardinals. And that is going to be what looks like the last big move, as we will get to the beginning of spring training and sort out what we want this roster to be. First and foremost, in terms of scouts, do we have anybody better? That scout's about the same to what we have, so is that one. Alright, so nobody better from the looks of it, unfortunately. So let's take a look here at this roster. In terms of the catchers, Miguel Amaya last season, the 720 OPS isn't too bad. The average is a bit mad, but a 337 on base, it's not too bad. Anthony Siegler did not play, and Bo Naylor did, but he put up a 236 average, a 304 on base, and a 665 OPS. I think we're going to move on from Bo Naylor. We'll give Siegler the chance as the backup catcher this season, and we'll have Al Vogt in AAA for one more season from the looks of it. So again, Siegler and Amaya are good. Naylor is going to be on his way out. Vogt will be our starter in AAA. Roman Kessler is also going to be on the way out. So that is pretty much the setup at catcher. I'll probably just sign one guy for depth. But Naylor and Kessler on the way out. And we'll actually see if we can pair them with anybody else, because at first we have Mateo, Prado, Heinlein, Self. Heinlein actually doesn't care if he's in the majors, nor does Self. I'm a little bit worried about Marcel Self, though, in that, is he ever really going to make it? So, technically, we could keep the situation at first base the same. Mateo's obviously going nowhere. Nick Prado at the plate last year was abysmal in 178 appearances. I think Prado might go too. We'll try to get the most for his value. He's very well-rounded, but it's very concerning that he was that bad at the plate. He was awful. 178 appearances again, 61 games. I'd rather just get something for him now. I'd rather just get something for him now because if I'm not mistaken, yeah, he just signed that new $4.3 million deal. We can clear out some cap. So Heinlein is going to get the bump up, I think. I mean, it's him or Self. And it's kind of a tough call. I mean, when I look, I kind of care more about Heinlein's, or Self's development over Heinlein's. And one more season in AAA with Self just killing it might be the way to go. So Heinlein's going to get added to the 40-man. He's going to be the backup first baseman this year. Self will start in AAA. Parrott and Kahn will be in double, so we'll sign one more AAA option. So let's get Naylor, Kessler, and Prado out of here for the best option that we have available. So again, it was Naylor, Kessler, and Prado. And we'll see what we can get back. Get rid of a decent amount of money as well. So Bennett is meh. Aguila's okay, but that's kind of a meh trade. Terry Plummer and Danny Sylvester, that's also kind of a meh trade for me. Lauren Barber's not bad, but again, not ideal. Another starter. Fernandez, though, yeah, I think Fernandez might be a little bit too good to deny. Plummer, I just don't know if he's going to make it, but getting Fernandez and Everett and Carmichael just kind of mad. Getting Fernandez from Detroit, that might be too good to pass up. I mean, he doesn't immediately put pressure on me to get rid of other starters. You got Beatty and Lucero, but it's not great. Again, like Lucero should have no trade value at all, but they thought the game was good the way it was. We could bring in Christopher Nance, 22A and a 73. Okay, it either comes down to Fernandez, which again, we already have a ton of good starters, or we get that other first baseman, and we get Nance, and Castro is not... I'm actually going to take that offer for Nance, I think. I'm going to take that offer for Nance, because then we can have Mateo and Self, or Mateo and Heinlein, Self and Nance, Parrott and Kahn, and just have this ridiculous depth at first base. So I think I'm good with that. So yeah, Heinlein will be in triple, or in the majors, and then it'll be Self and Parrott in triple. We'll go Nance and Kahn in double. And that's looking fairly ridiculous. The talent we have at first base. Now, you could argue, okay, well, if Parrott is, I imagine it'll be first base DH, first base DH. Like, everyone will get their playing time, at least ideally. So I'm going to have to sign an extra catcher and an extra first baseman for depth, which is nothing. Although, you know what? Screw it at this point. We might as well just stay live with this entire episode. Might as well. Let's go with good old Dwight Gomez here. And at first, we'll go for Spanos. He's terrible, which is fine. So it is going to be Gomez down in single in case of injury. And Spanos there as well. So, second base-wise, I mean, Warner Sylvester needs to be in the majors. He doesn't want to be, but he kind of needs to be. And I'm almost tempted with the first baseman and just be like, okay, screw it. Pick the best between Self, Parrott, and Nance, and just go with one of them. And then, honestly, that's not the worst option. It really isn't the worst option. Nance is extremely well-rounded in comparison to the others. Now, Mateo is pretty much going to be the DH, so as much as I like David Parrott, the batting's lacking a little bit for him, admittedly. Whereas Nance has the fielding's lacking for him. So if I wanted to, I could go with Mateo and Nance as a combination, just move on from Self, Parrott, and Heinlein. But just because this game is a bit finicky, we'll say, I'm going to hold on to all of them, and we'll see what happens from there and how they develop. I'd rather have that little bit of extra depth. I don't really think we're stunting the development of Self or Parrott. They're not requesting to be at the major league level, so I think we can get by and still have them develop, although you can certainly argue, well, they're at least starting to be major league level caliber. I don't disagree with that. Whereas with Warner Sylvester, even though he's not asking to be in the majors, I mean, yeah, we would be absolutely stunting his development if he didn't play in the majors this season. That's indisputable. Again, Self, Parrott, a little bit more debatable. Warner Sylvester needs to be a major league player this year, even if his facial hair choice is questionable. So that leaves us, as far as an infield is concerned, I mean, with Little, Sylvester, Serrano, Voorhees, Mitra, and Garcia. And I don't know who's going to go here. I feel like it's likely to be Garcia, even though he wasn't that bad this year, or this past season. Ray Mitra, I mean, he's 22 at this point. Good utility option. Not horrific. Then Jimmy Voorhees was still strong. And then, of course, you have Serrano, who was okay, not amazing. Still a younger option, though. Gabe Little, of course, the only guy who really showed up from a hitting perspective. And then what the hell is Sylvester going to be? So that's a little bit of a tough call. And then the outfield, I mean, you could move Ray Mitra to the outfield. You could. And that would open up a few more opportunities infield-wise to keep somebody. Whereas in the outfield, we have Bellinger. He's at 30 at this point. He's getting paid a ton. Julio at 25 was solid. Kelenic, not so much. Dominguez, and then David Koo, who I plan on trading. So it could be Bellinger, Rodriguez, Kelenic, and Dominguez. I think Koo's on the way out. If I wanted to get rid of one of them, though, we could keep Mitra. So at the very least, Koo is gone, and I have a feeling we're going to have to move an infielder. And I am very tempted, first base-wise, to optimize and just be like, screw it, based on the attributes, the age, and the overall the potential. This is the guy. Because I feel like choosing one, I mean, it's split. You can choose the best one and just go for it, recoup some prospects, or you can keep all of them, and just that way, hey, if one fails, you have one hell of a set of safety nets, especially at first base in particular. But we know Koo's out. And in terms of starting pitching, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Mercado wants to play in the majors. Gallegos wants to play in the majors. North's going to want to play in the majors. Batista, Flores, Mendel doesn't care. Barry doesn't care. So it's going to be from Flores up as far as who wants to be a major league pitcher this year. Which means we have 4 guys who have to go. Barrios is 31. Mackenzie Gore is 27. You could argue moving on from Barrios is the way to go, just because of his age, and the regression is going to kick in within 2 years or so. You have Fukumori, who's already showing up as an 89. Alex Nakayama, for the 105 innings that he pitched last season, was solid. Chad Leahy, 4.45 ERA, and the FIP, Leahy's gone. Yeah, we don't have time for Chad Leahy, so he's going to be one of the players that's gone. Antonio Mercado only had 14 innings of work last year. He was not ready for prime time then. Francis Gallegos, 26 innings of work, decent ERA, meh FIP rating. Damon North with that A potential we're not going to want to let go of, where Vladimir Batista and Enrique Flores are a little bit older. Batista was strong, though, when he got to play, as I think Enrique Flores was as well. Yeah, the FIP rating is pretty bad. So, I think here if we go Barrios, Gore, Fukumori, Nakayama, and then again Mercado, Gallegos, and then still, that's an odd person out. So say that Batista and Flores are out just because we have younger guys who are higher overall, right? So say we disqualify these two, they're out, we're getting rid of them. Again, that leaves us with one player too many. And it's just, do we want to move on from Barrios now? The money isn't really a concern, at least yet. I mean, budget-wise, I mean, we have almost $2.5 million. I mean, we're golden. I mean, it's Bellinger and Barrios are getting paid a lot, and that's going to keep going up. And they're both going to have to be moved within the next 3 seasons at the latest. So I'm just not sure how that's going to play out. But starting pitching-wise, say we keep Barrios, Gore, Fukumori. Who goes? Again, Alex Nakayama, 3.92 ERA, solid FIP rating. Antonio Mercado, 22.80 and a B, was brutal, but had limited time. Just 14 innings. Obviously, I think we'd want to keep North, so for me, it's between Mercado and Francis Gallegos. I think it has to be. And I mean, Gallegos was better in the short amount of time. They both had a short amount of time. It's kind of pick your poison, I suppose. I mean, the benefit to Mercado, of course, is that he's younger. Gallegos has a little bit more of an arm on him, a little bit more stamina. I don't know, man. That's a tough call. I think I'm going to go with Mercado. We're going to go with the youth on that one. So it will be, and Mercado's probably going to be the long reliever to start the year. So Barrios, Gore, Fukumori, Nakayama, and North with Mercado as the long reliever. So Leahy, Gallegos, Batista, and Flores have to go, which is insane. And I mean, I have no idea what the hell we're going to get back. Hopefully, hopefully outfield prospects. So let's take a look if there are any decent outfield prospects. That would be nice. We'll look for any A-grade outfielders that we can find and just try to pillage. Wait, are you serious? Are you serious? There are no A-grade prospects out there. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, I hit 90 overall. Jesus, that's what happens when you record while tired. That's what happens. That's better. I was going to say, we have some of those players on our team, don't we? So let's look specifically for outfielders. So Sam Bush, but he's terrible. Wow, okay, so there are just flat out no outfielders. Damn shame. Catchers, not that we need any. I mean, Darnell Rocker would be the ideal. First base, there aren't any options. Third base, there's Jose Lopez, who's not great. Shortstops, Vladimir Padilla. There are, like, no steals here at all. What if we bump it up to 22? Ken Nishii. This isn't great at all. My God. Outside of James Field, who we've looked at before with envy, maybe we try to make a blockbuster deal here with the Giants. It's a possibility. So I think we go again with Leahy, Gallegos, and Batista. It would take Batista. Take out Leahy, take out Gallegos, bring in Flores. And actually here, what if we add David Koo? So Batista and Koo would get that done, which is insane. And then we'd have to ponder who else we'd want to get rid of. That is an absolutely insane deal that we're going to do. We get James Field from the Giants. Highway robbery. But that is, again, without the restrictions, the type of deal that is available to us that we will gladly take advantage of. No contemplation over, oh, does this make sense for them? Would they actually do it? You know, the whole realism factor that we proposed at the start of this. No time for that. We need results. We'll see if there are any other outfielders, just because our depth there is weak. Fred Carew, but wasn't he okay, it must not have been Fred Carew that I got rid of. He's not bad, though. And again, James Field. Does Carew want to play in the majors? He does, so that kind of hurts it a little bit. He's not bad, though. I mean, having him as the bench option this year wouldn't be too bad. I know he's 23. He's a 75. I'm thinking we're reworking the outfield this year. Let's see if we can get Fred Carew from the Yankees. We'll go for Leahy. We'll go for Flores. And we'll go for Gallegos. So again, it ends up being Barrios, Gore, Fukumori, Nakayama, Mercado, and North. I think that's the way to do it. Let me see if they have anybody else that's half decent to add to this. Let's just say... What about Hodges? That barely moves the value, too. That's insane. They got a guy named DiMaggio. I can't possibly take him away. That would just be in bad taste. Is there anybody else? I wasn't even really looking for someone that high value. I'll take back... let me take back Tommy Dye for the hell of it. Because we're going to need people to replace. So let's pick up Fred Carew from the Yankees as well. And obviously the situation with this team has just changed a little bit. But we do know that those will be the 6 players on staff for us in terms of starting pitching talent this season. AAA is shaping up to be 4, 5. Can I send down Kirkpatrick? I can. And 6 with Soto. We're getting to the point where trading Kirkpatrick is a very good idea. Just because, again, like his value is going to continue to drop. And single A is 1. Let's go 2 and 3. So we're good. There are some players, I mean, obviously dropping Salem down and bumping up Serrano is the right way to go. And then technically, I think, too, say we drop Tommy Dye, bump up Ray Lyles to AA. So, I mean, starting pitching-wise now, we're set, which is pretty nice. And then, oh, the bullpen's going to be a mess. The bullpen's going to be an absolute mess. Let's see if we can sort this out as well. Chet Watson doesn't care if he plays in the majors, but I mean, I do. This guy should be there. It's just whether or not he's going to be. And aside from that, we're good. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 4 people have to go. Chet's 23, so he's automatically a target. Edwin's also a target. He's on a great deal, but he's 32. So an obvious target to potentially say, all right, especially if we're not a good team this year, he goes, but I think for now we keep him. Miguel Guillen last year was tremendous. Just tremendous. I mean, the FIP rating, close to a 4, but it's okay. Von Muller, the 3.6 ERA, the 1.12 whip. I don't really imagine getting rid of him. Edwin is 3, which means how the hell do we sort the rest of this? Pedro hasn't been great at all. I'm sorry. I know age, overall potential. Pedro's gone. I'd rather make the most of that value. He's just not the guy we were hoping he would be. Andy Williamson was fine. Anthony Gonzalez, ERA and whip are okay. For Gonzalez, it's a little bit shaky. How many games did he even have last year? 49. So Gonzalez is on the chopping block. Merle had no major league appearances last year. Omar Escobar is safe, for sure. The FIP's a little bit rough, but he's 20. The ERA and the whip were at least fine. Chet has no major league appearances, and I think just by default, 23, one of the lower ratings, or at least slightly on the lower end. I think Chet's probably gone, even though we just added him to the 40-man. Jack Rudolph only had 5 innings of work last year, and it was rough. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 2 people still have to go. Oh, that's tough. I think with Merle, again, he hadn't pitched last year. He's 24. These other guys are higher potentials. They have a chance to get better. I think Merle's on the outs. And, I mean, again, same thing. I think Jack Rudolph's on the outs. I mean, it's that or we, again, Anthony was fine. I mean, the FIP was a little bit high. But I think we give him a chance to turn it around. So I think Jack is also gone. So it is going to be Rudolph, Watson, Willingham, and Pedro that are gone. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's see what happens here. So Rudolph, Watson, and Willingham. Let's see what we can get in return. Anthony Jameson. I almost read that as Antoine Jameson. Let's see, though. I mean, that's decent, of course. Lincoln Juarez is going to be a monster. And we get Ramon Hernandez and Ryan Walden back to fill out the spaces that we get rid of. I'll probably take that directly. Let's do that trade with Cincinnati. We get a decent starter. I get a couple of starters I wouldn't mind flipping. And we'll see. As long as Ramon Hernandez doesn't want to be a starter, which he doesn't, then we're fine. So Pedro's gone. And in terms of starters, James Salem and Tommy Dye, I'm going to try to flip here. And we'll see what we can get for this trio. I don't want David Koo back, thank you. Juan Juarez is there. There was a second trade, but the second trade's never good for me. Herbert Gonzalez is the type of guy. Parks and Lemon, Parks and Lemon are both okay. Well, Banfield, Goots, the Goots, Carmen Rodriguez, Beebe, I don't really want a starter. Callaway and Everett, Lauren Barber, who has a chance, of course, to be amazing. I think I want to go after Herbert Gonzalez, but let me take out Parks and Lemon because I just don't trust that they're going to be that good. Lemon was a center fielder. And what can I add to this trade to make it work? You know, Lemon's actually not bad. Say I get Lemon and Ramiro because we need some outfield depth. Let's do that. So Pedro is gone. We're dealing him to the Cardinals. We get back a shortstop prospect in return. So at this point, we're looking good. Again, catcher-wise, Amaya and Siegler are going to start, but Al Vogt is right there, just about ready to take over. First base-wise, I think we're just going to stick with the ungodly depth that we have there. Self and Parrott in AAA, Nance and Kahn in double with Mateo and Heinlein. The infield still needs a little bit of sorting. I think I want to deal Rafael Herrera as well really quickly while we're at it. And again, there are some guys age-wise where it's like, okay, is Eric Hansen going to make it? The problem is I might have to wait to deal someone like Eric Hansen because there just might not be that many prospects left, to actually trade for, which sucks. But obviously, we've swooped up a decent amount of people. Herrera's only signed through the rest of this year. We could let him go. He's at least a decent depth option, and he was cheap, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't mean to look at Texas. Yeah, he's not bad. Shortstop-wise, we have decisions to make again. And the outfield is Field, which is amazing. Kalanick, Dominguez, Carew, Bellinger, Rodriguez. So Field is safe, Bellinger's safe. Who joins him? Who are the two? So Rodriguez had that 794 OPS last year. Kalanick had a 739. Dominguez had a 732. And then Carew could be flipped, but in terms of like a pinch runner. And he actually wasn't that bad at the plate last year for the Yankees, which is crazy. You'd think he'd be terrible. So I don't necessarily hate having Carew's speed as a pinch runner. So I think it's between Kalanick, Dominguez, and Rodriguez. I think only one can stay. Kalanick just got signed to that deal. He's really not worth it. Dominguez just got signed to a new deal. Had the 349 on base last year. Rodriguez had the 337 and had that slightly higher slugging percentage. So it's down to Dominguez or Rodriguez, and I think Kalanick and Dominguez are on the outs. And Carew might not be safe. Hal Rodriguez might not be safe. We might have to move Mitra to the outfield. But for now, I think Jared Kalanick, it just didn't work. And Dominguez is the odd man out because I like the fourth option that has a little bit more speed. So Kalanick and Dominguez, that is a lot of trade value right there. I don't know if we're going to be able to just get prospects back for that much value. Amane, Plummer, and Sylvester. You have Fernandez, Carmichael, and Suzuki. Obviously I like Fernandez, and Carmichael's not bad. Let me go to this deal and take out Suzuki, wherever he is, and see if there's anybody else I can add to this. Can I get Gonzalez? That barely moves the bar. That's insane. Let's go to like low to mid 70s. Does Detroit have anybody else who is overly interesting? The answer is yes with Gallegos. All right, I think Gallegos is going to be the guy. Carmichael. Ooh, never mind. Take out Gallegos. Not that I need another catcher. But say we add Callaway. And then 4 catchers. Say we add Kevin Hoff. That's not enough to get it there. Eric Hansen. I like Callaway a little bit more than Eric Hansen. He's a slight improvement, so we're going to do that. Let's pick up Fernandez and Carmichael from Detroit. Kelenic on the move as we look to finalize this roster. So starters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. AAA is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then double is going to be 1, 2 with Soto. 3, 4, 5, and 6 with Tanner. So single A, in theory, is going to be Serrano, Lyles, and Jackson, which isn't too bad. Relievers, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is perfect. I'll fill out the rest of the roster later. And, I mean, yeah, that's pretty straightforward. Callaway, we'll go down to double A. First base-wise, you know the deal there. It's just, do I need to clear out an extra infielder? And I mean, we do, because we're on 26. So it's either we keep Fred Carew or we ditch an infielder. Like I said, I really like Luis Garcia. I think we move Ray Mitra to the outfield. But the issue is, like, Warner Sylvester has no secondary position. Little could play shortstop. But Jimmy Voorhees is there. But I think I'd rather keep people, see who earns the spot, rather than getting rid of people now. So I gotta be honest, I think Fred Carew is the best way to go. We have a lot of guys here. Some people shouldn't be the type to be sitting on the bench, but they're gonna be for now until we can see who else is available. So we will look to get Lopez from the Twins. I just want to remove the rest of the garbage there and make sure we get something else half decent back, because the rest of that was pretty brutal. Of course, they just spent a lot of money as well. Stephen Byer would be a tremendous addition. And anybody else? Richie Page, if he wasn't a C potential guy, would be perfect. Let's go for... oh, God. Let's just go for Williams, even though he's not going to make it. So let's deal Fred Carew to the Twins. We get a decent little return. And with that, let's take a look at what the lineup is going to be this season. Although we now need to make that move. Starters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Byer actually wants to be in the majors. No, he doesn't. He doesn't care if he's in the majors. Cool. We'll send him down to triple. Perfect. Perfect. So the pitching staff this season is going to be this little setup right here. Although, Anthony Gonzalez, please go up to that. Thank you very much. I think we'll go with that because Guillen was great last year. That is the setup. That is pretty damn strong, especially when you consider the age groups. And then lineup-wise, I'm going to let the AI take care of it. Let's actually see what they do here once I sim forward. So we lost 7-0. So that's the current setup with Heinlein, Sylvester, and Siegler, Garcia on the bench as well. But I don't hate that. We can wait to see what this team does, what these players do with the opportunity. Decide, okay, if someone's not getting it done, move them out mid-season. But I do like the setup of this team right now. And it's still more of the same, just trying to filter out and making sure that we have the best players possible. It says we're currently rated third. We'll see if that lasts. And then obviously we have a lot of guys up there in terms of prospects. We'll see if that lasts as well. I mean, Sylvester's obviously going to be in the majors this year. So I think that does it for this one. While the beginning of this episode sucked in terms of missing out, playoff-wise and just getting crushed, I think we're going to be better for it. And again, this season, still about younger players proving themselves. We may end up moving on from Diaz, Barrios, and Bellinger throughout the year. I mean, if we're not doing that well, we might as well move on from them before the decline hits to get the most out of them. But the big addition of James Field, and again, the continued development of certain guys here, I'm intrigued to see what happens this year. Hopefully it'll be a good season for us. The playoffs, certainly the goal. Playoff success, certainly the hope. I thank you guys very much for watching and sticking with the series. If you have, I'm still having fun with it. Still damn well determined to win. It'd be rather embarrassing if we didn't, considering the lack of limitations.